Hello and welcome to the 21st Annual Gold Derby Film Awards. Today is our nominations phase. We will be reading off 22 categories worth of nominations for all sorts of film categories. We match up pretty close to what the Oscars have in terms of categories, although we do have Breakthrough Performer and Ensemble of the Year as well. Here to help me do that, I'm Chris Beachum, Managing Editor of Gold Derby. We've got Daniel Montgomery, we've got Christopher Rosen, Denton Davidson, Joyce Eng, Ray Richmond, Latasha Ford, and Marcus Dixon. This is our editorial team that you see articles and galleries and interviews all the time. So we are going to start with Christopher Rosen. Everybody can shut off their cameras except for Chris. And Daniel is going to give you information all along the way on who was close to getting in, those sorts of things, because the other groups don't do that and we enjoy doing that. So Chris, take us away.
All right, great. My first category here for us is Best Original Song. The nominees are Ciao Papa from Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, Hold My Hand from Top Gun Maverick, Lift Me Up from Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Natu Natu from RRR, and This Is a Life from Everything Everywhere All at Once. And then the other category I have is Best Original Score. Those nominees are Babylon, The Banshees of Inisherin, The Batman, The Fabelmans, and Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
Yeah, for best score, surprisingly, because it's been such a strong contender all season, Women Talking was the closest nominee or closest film to a nomination that missed. It was in 6th place, but it was about like 60 points out. Then Everything Everywhere All at Once was in 7th place. Black Panther Wakanda Forever was close. And so was Avatar The Way of Water. Nope rounded out our top 10 there. For best song, this was a much closer race, missing by 5 points, which is about like 2 ballots worth if you're voting for number ones. Missing by 5 points was New Body Rumba from White Noise, and just 7 points behind that was poor Taylor Swift, Where the Crawdads Sing, Carolina. Carolina is nominated at the Gold Derby Music Awards, but missed at the Gold Derby Film Awards. So those were pretty close. Then rounding out our top 10 for songs, actually songs that didn't even make the short list at the Oscars. Turning Red, Nobody Like You, Bodies, 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 Hot Girl, and Bros, Love Is Not Love.
Well, I've got Best Breakthrough Performer. We don't attach a particular movie to any of these people, but I think in all 5 cases, that was pretty much one big movie that they had this year, maybe only one movie. So our nominees are Austin Butler, Frankie Corio, Danielle Deadweiler, Stephanie Hsu, and Gabriel LaBelle. And if somebody's wondering about somebody like Stephanie, this is her breakthrough in film. So we felt like, if somebody was having, we've seen her on Maisel and we've seen her in other places, but this was her big breakthrough year in film. Same with Austin Butler. He's had some films, but he was usually a minor character, certainly not the star of the movie. So we felt like as we were making a list of, 35, 40 people that were possible nominees, that's how we get to some of those names.
And just missing out also has had some films, but she had a really big breakthrough this year with both X and Pearl. Mia Goth missed by just 3 points, which is 1 first place vote on a ballot, so that's incredibly close. Dali De Leon finished 7th, Diego Calva in 8th, Sadie Sink 9th, Taylor Russell 10th.
The nominees for Best International Feature are All Quiet on the Western Front, Argentina 1985, Close, Decision to Leave, and RRR. And I'm glad to see RRR make the cut.
Yeah, this was a pretty secure 5. There's a more than 200-point gap between 5th place, which I won't reveal, and 6th place, which just missed, which was Bardo. Then EO in 7th, Joyland in 8th, Mars 1 at 9th, and another Oscar shortlist film, The Quiet Girl, in 10th.
On to Best Documentary Feature. The nominees are All That Breathes, All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, Bad Axe, Fire of Love, and Moonish Daydream.
And this was a close call. Selena Gomez, My Mind and Me, missed by 12 points. And then also with a lot of support was Navalny. And everything in the top 10 actually got substantial support. So Housemaid of Splinters in 8th, Goodnight Oppie in 9th, and The Territory in 10th place. And that brings us to 2 categories that I will announce. The nominees for Best Visual Effects are Avatar, The Way of Water, The Batman, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Nope, and Top Gun Maverick. And for Best Sound, the nominees are All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar, The Way of Water, The Batman, Nope, and Top Gun Maverick. And for Best Sound, the closest miss by just about 12 points, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Tar actually got a lot of support for Best Sound as well in 7th place, Elvis in 8th, Babylon in 9th, Black Panther Wakanda Forever in 10th. Visual effects, speaking of Black Panther, that was just out of a nomination in 6th place, missing by less than 50 points. Then All Quiet on the Western Front, Doctor Strange, RRR in 9th, which didn't make the Oscar shortlist, sadly, and Jurassic World Dominion.
Well, moving on to Best Ensemble. This is a category that the SAG Awards have and the Critics' Choice, but not the Oscars. So our nominations are The Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Glass Onion, and Women Talking.
And this category was another, this was another secure 5. There's more than 100 points between 5th and 6th place, and just missing out in 6th place was Triangle of Sadness. Then SAG nominee Babylon, The Woman King in 8th, Black Panther Wakanda Forever in 9th, and actually Avatar The Way of Water rounding out our top 10 for ensemble cast, even though most of those cast members are digitally rendered.
Moving on to Best Animated Feature, our nominees are Apollo 10.5, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, Pinocchio, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and Turning Red. And for Best Production Design, our nominees are Avatar: The Way of Water, Babylon, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Glass Onion.
And for animated feature, this was a very secure top 5. There's, the 5th place film had more than double the amount of points of 6th place, which was Mad God. Then Bob's Burgers movie in 7th place, Lightyear in 8th, Inuo, the Golden Globe nominee, in 9th, Wendell and Wild in 10th. Other major Oscar contenders, you got Strange World in 13th, My Father's Dragon in 15th. So not a lot of support there. For production design, All Quiet on the Western Front just missed that nomination by 17 points. Then we had Elvis, which has been doing well for production design this season, Pinocchio, The Batman, and The Fabelmans, rounding out our top 10 there.
Next, we have our first acting category, Best Supporting Actor. The nominees are Brendan Gleeson, The Banshees of Inisherin, Brian Tyree Henry, Causeway, Ke Huy Quan, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Barry Keoghan, The Banshees of Inisherin, and Mark Rylance, Bones and All.
And this was, even though we had some interesting nominees, this was a secure 5. Just missing is strong Oscar contender Paul Dano for The Fabelmans. Eddie Redmayne, also Golden Globe SAG nominee for The Good Nurse, was in 7th place. Brad Pitt, Babylon, in 8th place. He was a Golden Globe nominee. 9th place actually is a surprise. Brian Darcy James for The Cathedral. And then Ben Whishaw in 10th place. Among the other Oscar contenders, Judd Hirsch finished 11th for his one really major, amazing scene in The Fabelmans.
Okay, I'm back here to do Best Makeup and Hair. And those nominees are The Batman, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and The Whale. And then next we have Best Costume Design. And those nominees are Babylon, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Glass Onion.
For makeup and hair, this was a really secure 5. Just in 6th place was All Quiet on the Western Front, then Crimes of the Future in 7th, Babylon in 8th, The Woman King in 9th, and The Northman in 10th. For costumes, let me call that up. Just missing in 6th place was The Woman King. That was actually just 20 points shy of a nomination. Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris in 7th, Corsage, The Northman, and The Batman rounding out our top 10 for costume design.
All right, Best Supporting Actress. The 5 nominees are Angela Bassett, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Carrie Condon, The Banshees of Inisherin, Jamie Lee Curtis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Dolly De Leon, Triangle of Sadness, Stephanie Hsu, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
And just missing out with 30 points shy of a nomination was Janelle Monáe for Glass Onion. And after that, there was a pretty steep drop off. So it was really 6 people fighting for those 5 spots for the most part, but still with a lot of support. Keke Palmer with Nope. SAG nominee Hong Chow for The Whale in 8th. Nina Haas for Tar in 9th. Carey Mulligan for She Said in 10th. My beloved Women Talking Women, Jessie Buckley and Claire Foy finished 11th and 12th. I wish that film were doing better, but they are members of the ensemble cast, which was nominated.
On to Best Film Editing. The nominees are After Sun, Avatar: The Way of the Water, Decision to Leave, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Top Gun: Maverick. Best Cinematography. All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of the Water, The Batman, Nope, and Top Gun: Maverick.
Best Film Editing was surprisingly secure, since we do have a couple of surprises in that category. There's more than 100-point drop off between 5th and 6th place. Missing out closest to a nomination was actually Tar, then The Fabelmans, Elvis, All Quiet on the Western Front, and Babylon rounding out our top 10. For Best Cinematography, we had Everything Everywhere All at Once just missing out in 6th place. That was less than 30 points out of a nomination. Banshees of Inisherin in 7th, Fabelmans 8th, Decision to Leave in 9th, and Babylon in 10th. So a lot of support for those films as well.
And now we're up to Best Actor, where the nominees are Austin Butler, Elvis, Diego Calva for Babylon, Colin Farrell for The Banshees of Inisherin, Brendan Fraser for The Whale, and Paul Mescal for After Sun.
And this category is just as interesting for who didn't make it as for who did. The closest to a nomination who missed was actually Park Hae-il from Decision to Leave. He missed by less than 50 points. Then Gabriel LaBelle for The Fabelmans in 7th. Eden Dambrine, if I'm pronouncing that correctly or not, I apologize, for Close. Then Critics' Choice nominee Tom Cruise for Top Gun: Maverick was in 9th. Daniel Craig for Glass Onion was in 10th. One of the major contenders for the Oscar, looking like a solid nominee, Bill Nighy for Living, finished 12th in our voting. I'm guessing not a lot of people in our voting base had much of an opportunity to see it yet, but that's just the theory.
Some shockers there. Interesting. So now we have the 2 screenplay categories. Let's start with Best Original Screenplay, and our nominees are After Sun, The Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, and Tar. And moving on to Best Adapted Screenplay, the nominees are All Quiet on the Western Front, Bones and All, Glass Onion, Pinocchio. And Daniel, Women Talking.
Yay! I'm happy wherever that film gets support. Yeah, it has been underperforming this season, so glad to see that. Sadly, another film that I've been really behind this season didn't make adapted screenplay, and that's She Said. That was the closest miss in the adapted screenplay race, but pretty steep drop off between fifth and sixth. She Said missed by about 130 points. Then Happening in seventh, After Yang in eighth, The Batman in ninth, and Top Gun Maverick in 10th. One of the major Oscar contenders, The Whale, finished 11th. Living, another major Oscar contender that missed for Bill Nye, also missed here. That was in 13th place here. And for original screenplay, the closest miss by about 50 points was Nope. Then Triangle of Sadness, Decision to Leave, a film that we've been seeing sort of on the cusp in a bunch of categories. Close, and Good Luck to You, Leo Grand, which I was a fan of, so I was happy to see that one get some support. And that brings us to Best Actress. The nominees, which I will announce in that category, are Cate Blanchett in Tar, Danielle Deadwyler, Till, Mia Goth, Pearl, Michelle Williams, The Fabelmans, and Michelle Yeoh, Everything Everywhere All at Once. That's an interesting five. I'm always excited to see someone interesting get in, like Mia Goth. Yeah, she just missed in Breakthrough, but she got in here. Sixth place was actually Emma Thompson, and Good Luck to You, Leo Graham. She only missed by about 45 points, and I was excited for that performance. Really loved that performance. Decision to Leave, another one getting a lot of support in seventh place. Tong Wei finished seventh there. Ana de Armas in eighth. Margot Robbie in ninth. And strong Oscar contender Viola Davis in 10th for The Woman King, which was a little surprising to me. I thought she would secure more support than that, but not at these awards. So we'll see what happens at Oscar time.
All right, up for Best Director, it's James Cameron, Avatar, The Way of Water, Daniels, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Todd Field, Tar, Steven Spielberg, The Fabelmans, and Charlotte Wells, After Sun. After Sun doing well with us.
Mm-hmm. And this was another one that this was a fairly secure category. Missing out in sixth place by about 80 points was Martin McDonagh for The Banshees of Inisherin. Another film that has been on the cusp several times, Decision to Leave. Park Chan-wook finished seventh. Jordan Peele with Nope in eighth. S.S. Rajamouli for RRR in ninth. And Aubrey Dewan for Happening in 10th. So we've got a DGA nominee, Joseph Kosinski, finished 12th. Damien Chazelle in 11th. Sarah Polley, Women Talking in 13th, even though I voted for her. And the more interesting, Baz Luhrmann in 16th. So interesting who did really well and interesting who did not.
Yeah.
And now finally, we have Best Picture. The nominees are After Sun, Avatar, The Way of Water, The Banshees of Inisherin, The Batman, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Glass Onion, Nope, Tar, and Top Gun Maverick. And I don't think this will be the Oscar 10.
No, I don't think so either. Which I especially like. I always like when we go our own way, as we have done a lot in these categories today. Again, missing out just barely in 11th place, Decision to Leave. So that's a film that, while it ended up with 2 nominations, it could have, the wind blows a different direction. It could have had like 6 or 7. And then another international film, Close, was actually in 12th place, so aptly titled. Triangle of Sadness in 13th, All Quiet on the Western Front in 14th, Babylon in 15th. Interesting, to consider some other Oscar contenders. Elvis was 19th. Women Talking was 21st. Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which made the PGA's list, the Producers Guild, is 25th with us. The Whale also made the Producers Guild list. That was just 28th with us. So again, interesting to see where our awards agree with the Oscars and where they don't. I'll just give some now nomination totals by film in case people weren't counting at home. Everything Everywhere All at Once got 14 nominations, and as you heard, it came close to getting a few others. Banshees of Inisherin is next with 8 nominations. Avatar: The Way of Water has 7 with 6 nominations. The Batman, The Fabelmans, and Top Gun Maverick. And with 5 nominations, After Sun, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, and Glass Onion.
People, we can all ask questions now. Daniel's got all the stats in front of him, but I have a general question that really doesn't matter on the stats. What happened to Elvis? It's not, well, it's not, I mean, like Living, as Daniel mentioned, and a few others just haven't, I mean, these are voted on by people around the world, and some movies just haven't opened for a lot of people. So they didn't get, even something like The Whale, people, maybe they saw it, maybe they didn't, maybe they voted for Brendan Fraser without even seeing it. But Elvis was out last summer. Everybody's been on HBO since September. Everybody's had a chance to see it, and it's probably getting in at the Oscars Best Picture 10. So it finishes 19th with us for Best Picture.
All the love went to Austin Butler and nothing else.
Well,
Yeah,
why
3
would an Austin
nominations
Butler
total.
fan mark the movie down though in Best Picture? It doesn't matter to me. I'm just wondering. We have some unusual circumstances like that, and the Batman way overperforming compared to the rest of the award season.
Yeah, the Batman with 6 remembered from all the way back in, like, so Warner Brothers did well, but with a different film than we were expecting.
Yeah, that was out in the spring, and it's up for Best Picture with us, which I find a little bit surprising. But we've got several big Avatar, Batman, Top Gun are all huge blockbusters. Who else has questions?
I was surprised to see After Sun do as well as it did. Obviously, I mean that. I don't know that the Oscars are going to match that, but yeah, it's great for us to stand out in categories that others are ignoring.
Well,
And we had a female up for Best Director, and it probably wasn't Charlotte Wells that people were expecting.
Yeah, I think people came opposite of Elvis. I think people came in maybe to vote for Paul, and then started marking After Sundown and a bunch of other categories, which I love. I think that's great. I've got Paul now in my 5th slot for Best Actor at the Oscars. I think four are pretty secure, and we don't know what they're going to do with the 5th. And I just think there's passion there for his performance. The other 2, I guess, would be Tom Cruise, but he's not really getting in anywhere except he might have been like in 6th place at Critics' Choice. And Adam Sandler I'm sorry, Adam, but you did a bunch of SAG nomination committee Q&As and shook hands and kissed babies and took photos. And I don't think that's going to transfer over to Oscars, but
I wouldn't rule that out entirely, just because I feel like there are enough people out there who are still kind of steamed about him not getting in for Uncut Gems that might just be like, there's an empty slot here for Best Actor. Why not put him in it?
Yeah.
But yeah. We'll
I have
see.
a question for Daniel. How many women director nominees, or not nominees, but in the top 10 did we have? I'm just curious. I know Charlotte.
We had 2 women in our top 10, in addition to Charlotte Wells, who got the nomination, was Audrey Dewan for Having It.
Okay.
And then a couple of others right behind them, right?
Yeah, we had 2 more in our top 20. So Sarah Polley, Women Talking in 13th, Gina Prince Bythewood in for The Woman King in 17th.
And Maria Schrader, nowhere close, huh?
Maria Schrader, I am scrolling. She landed in 31st.
The Woman King is another one that really did not do well with us.
And that people saw.
Yeah, we know they saw it.
Yeah.
I had another thought there. Oh, here's another anomaly to me. Bones and All, obviously fans of that movie came in and voted for screenplay, voted for Mark Rylance. And typically we've got such passionate Timothée Chalamet fans. If I had known that on those 2, I would have said, oh, well, Timothy's easily getting into Best Actor, but he's not.
Nope, and he wasn't really close. He was 16th in the Best Actor race.
Any other questions?
I'm really curious who's going to win Best Actor with us, because I mean the main three I think would be Brendan Fraser, Colin Farrell, Austin Butler, and I have a feeling I know what our Gold Derby people what they will vote for, but it'll be interesting when we announce the winners if my guess is correct or not.
Who are you voting for?
I'm going to probably go with Brendan Fraser. He's the Matthew McConaughey of the year, you know, an actor that kind of was always not taken seriously until he got the big role that
Transformative role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
one of
gonna
the
be
fun things
interesting.
about looking at the stats is that, you know, I could see who had the most support in the nominations round, which I obviously will not reveal because I don't want to influence the voting for the winners. But it'll be interesting to see if they match up with who did especially well in the winners round, if they're consistent with who was strong in the nominations round.
Well, let me
Sometimes
just
you
give
get
you
people
a
coming in, they want to jump in and really make sure a person at least gets a nomination, and then they don't get the support.
sometimes they don't even come back if they got them in or they didn't come in. Well, let me just give a quick summary here. We will get word out to all the studios and all the reps this morning of the nominations. Over 2,000 people voted on this phase. Hopefully we'll have even more voting if everybody watching and others vote on the next round for winners. On the winners round, you can only vote for one film or one person in each category, except for Best Picture. We will allow you to rank your top three for Best Picture. And you've got through February the 5th to vote. We will announce our winners on March 1st. And hopefully we'll do a ceremony again like we did last year with winners giving us acceptance speeches, and we can play those throughout the ceremony. So that's kind of where things are on that. And we really appreciate you voting on this round and the exciting group of nominees. Anybody else have anything to say?
Go Angela Bassett.
There's Marcus's FYC for you. Everybody jump in and vote. Your vote does count, as you've seen, and we've been doing this 21 years. Sometimes one vote makes a difference in somebody winning and coming in second place. So we hope you will, and thank you so much for watching today.